Coco into the finals here at Roland Garros. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really excited to be back here in the final. Happy with my performance today. Obviously, a lot more work left to do, but yeah, I'm going to savor this one and be ready on Saturday.
Okay, questions?
Congratulations, Coco.
Thank you.
Obviously, you've been subjected to massive media attention from very early on. So if you just have a few pieces of advice to give to Lois now that she has made this breakthrough tournament, what would it be? How can she handle all the new pressure and expectations around her?
Yeah, I think her position is especially harder because I think she's in the French. There's not a lot of players that have made this result in the recent years. So I think there's the whole country's going to be looking at everything. And I guess my biggest advice is just to stay true to yourself and the things that people keep your people what you around you, what they expect from you, not what media expects from you or other outside analysts expect for you. So yeah, I think that's my only advice. I don't know her too well, but the fact that she's had such a great run, and even with all the media attention that happened so fast, obviously I think she has her head on her right shoulders. So yeah, it's going to be probably a weird few months for her, but I think the more it happens, the more you get used to it.
Hi, Coco.
Hi.
Congratulations. So your second French Open final now. Looking back to your first, how do you remember how you feel like you handled any nerves and the occasion? And is there anything you'll take from that and maybe learn ahead of this one?
Yeah, my first final here, I was super nervous, and I kind of wrote myself off before the match even happened. And obviously here I have a lot more confidence just from playing a Grand Slam final before and doing well in one. So yeah, I think going into Saturday, I'll just give it my best shot, try to be as calm and relaxed as possible, and yeah, whatever happens, and knowing that I put the best effort forward.
Congratulations, Coco.
Thanks.
What is, I guess, you think, in your opinion, having played her recently too and just seen her results, what has made Aryna such a dominant player on the tour? What do you think it is that she's been, because on the rankings, points-wise, she's got a pretty big gap between herself and I guess you at number two?
Yeah, I think obviously her ball striking, she can come up with some big shots and big winners pretty much at all areas of the court. So I think her ball striking and also her mentality, she's a fighter as well. She's going to stay in the match regardless of the score line. So yeah, I think that both her ball striking, serving, and mentality, and obviously there's a lot of other things, but those are the main three I would say.
Well done, Coco.
Thanks.
How do you keep a big moment like Saturday small enough so that it's manageable? You've had some big moments in the past and risen to some of them, and others, like you said, have been difficult. What do you know now about what you do in order to sort of keep it from getting out of control?
I think just realizing how minuscule it is. Everybody's dealing with way bigger things in life than losing a final. So, and also realizing that I don't know how big the draw is, but however many players will want it to be in this position. So I'm sure there's hundreds of players that would kill to win or lose a final. So just knowing that, making me realize how lucky and privileged I am to be in this position. And at first I thought it would be the end of the world if I lost, and the sun still rose the next day. So knowing regardless of the result, the sun will still rise, and especially being in a city like Paris, I was walking around the next day and no one knew that I lost and no one cared. Obviously no one knows who, some people know who I am, but not a lot, not everyone. So just realizing that, how big the moment seems in our lives is not as big in the grand scheme of things.
Hi there, Coco. It seemed today that you were really striking the forehand very well and aggressively and putting her under a lot of pressure with that shot.
Yeah.
You're known for your movement. I just wonder, between, say, an example like Lois and Aryna, do you adjust your tactics significantly from match to match,
Yeah.
given that you can, I guess, do different things?
Yeah, definitely. And obviously there are two different players and playing from Madison the other day. So I definitely do change it up a little bit. But I still think, going into Saturday, I'll have to strike my forehand pretty well and both sides of the court, forehand and backhand, and try to come up with some big shots. I definitely change it slightly, but also, you got to have your core to your game and kind of stick to that as well.
Hi, Coco.
Hi.
You've played Arena a bunch of times, of course, and on clay most recently, but also, of course, U.S. Open final. What do you think will be the key for you on this surface and at this tournament? And how much for you going into a match like that is about what you are going to do versus how you plan to counteract what she does?
Yeah, I think just trying to go for my shots and be aggressive. Obviously, she's someone who has great big shots, and she's going to come out aggressive. She's going to come out swinging, and I think I just have to expect that and, do my best to kind of counter that. But, yeah, I think the past experience that I played her has been, we had some up and down matches. We had some I've won straight sets and her vice versa. So, anything can happen on Saturday, but I'm looking forward to it. And, it's glad to be going up against the world number one, too.
Hi, congratulations.
Thank you.
So inside of this stadium, there are some saying or a sign which says victory belongs to the most tenacious.
Yes.
Do you think that it feels right, or what do you think is the most important ability or skills to win in this stadium?
Yeah, I definitely would agree with that. I mean, there's a lot of things, but that's definitely the most important thing, I think, in being resilient and having that mindset. Because we all, at the end of the day, we're all great players. We're all playing a Grand Slam. We're in, especially the later stages, everybody's a great player. And it really comes down to who can hold their own in those tough moments. So, yeah, I definitely think that's a good quote, especially on this surface, because, clay is pretty physical, too.
It's me. We had Madsen Keys the other day here who said that she has very lately in her life found a way to go to cities and actually explore them while playing. I remember you saying that you wanted to do that in future. Do you have the time? Can you actually do that nowadays?
Yeah, it's tough sometimes to find the time and also the energy. But yeah, I still try to do that, whether it's just even walking around for 20 minutes. I think it makes a difference in your mental and takes you away from the sport. I'm someone who enjoys doing escape rooms, so I did 2 so far this tournament, maybe might do another one tomorrow. But I think it definitely makes a difference. And, you don't want, I don't want to go back home and be like, how's Paris? And I didn't leave the room, So I just want to be able to say that I actually enjoyed my time in Paris off the court and not just on the court.
Hey, Coco, well played. A couple of years ago, you started kind of trying to change your identity as a tennis player to be a more offensive player. I'm curious, since that time, you've obviously had a lot of success, multiple Slam finals. How does that, how natural does it feel now to play that way? Does it feel like it's set, or is it still something that you're constantly working on?
I think it's something I'm still constantly working on, and something I'm trying to evolve to do. And sometimes I think maybe I can play too aggressive and start missing too much. So I think just finding the balance, and I think I've definitely gotten a lot better at that. Hence the results. But I still think there's a lot to improve when it comes to that.
I think you have the same gap between your first Slam final and your second one, and now between your second and your third. It was 5 sort of slams in between. I'm curious, do these feel like they're coming fast for you, or does it feel like it was a long time since your U.S. Open final? Just how, in terms of your patience level, in terms of how life is going by, whatever you want to measure that.
Honestly, it feels kind of fast, to be honest. U.S. Open doesn't feel like too long ago, but I would say it feels fast for the most part. Obviously, there's a little bit of time in it, but I think just going on tour, and also when you're playing the same schedule, you kind of get used to it and things go by so fast. I feel like my month, my version of a month is so different than somebody else's version of a month, just because most of the turn, a Grand Slam is basically a month. We're here for 3 weeks. So it goes by pretty fast, I would say. yeah, but I'm glad to be here.
I just wanted to ask about the escape rooms that you mentioned. Who do you do those with? What were the themes, and how did they go? Did you escape? Or?
Yeah, we're 1 for 1. I did one like a week ago. We got out of that one, and then the most recent one we did not get out. We had one more clue left. Yeah, it was not my fault. My dad and I were the best. My mom and I did it with Chris Eubanks, and them two were the worst. I know when I invite my mom, she's not going to be great. She's just there for the vibes. But Chris, I expected a little bit better to be, just considering he claims he's good at escape rooms. But yeah, they're fun. I think I'm pretty good. But the first one I did last week, my team carried. I wasn't that good.
And what were the themes? Sorry.
Oh, themes. The first week, we had to find like the doctor that was like experimenting on humans and prove it. And then the next one, some subway was blowing up and we had to fix it. And I didn't know how to read a subway map. So that's why the clue was like, read the map is going north and switch to change. And I had no idea what that meant because I don't really ride the metro that much and I never rode it in Paris.
And so the teams are you and your dad against your mom and Eubanks?
Yeah, we're together. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. What do you remember of that last Grand Slam final against Arena? And like when both sort of on the court and off it, walking on, walking off, sort of how that whole evening unfolded?
Yeah, honestly, it was one of those matches that felt like an outer body experience. Like, I don't remember much, to be honest. I do remember, like, one point, I think I hit, like, a back and cross passing shot, and I felt like that was, like, the momentum switch of the match. But I just remember running a lot and, yeah, just fighting for every point. Honestly, I wasn't that nervous going into that final. Just, I don't know, I felt like that I woke up that day, and I just felt like regardless of what was going to happen, I was going to come out with the win. And, you know, you don't always get that feeling when you go on the court. But I did that day. So, yeah, I don't remember much. But, you know, I just remember it felt like I was holding my breath until the match point. Thanks.